Hey guys, it's Scott from Axle Boy. Just continuing our Off-Roading 101 series. Today I want to talk about a topic that's really close to my heart, and that's treading lightly. We want to make sure that we follow the rules and recommendations of Tread Lightly organization. We want to keep our trails open. We don't want to hurt the environment. We want to keep those that are watching over us that just think we're tearing up things. We want to show them that we're responsible. Every time we do irreparable damage to a trail, somebody sees it and then they start trying to shut that down, talking about how the off-road community is the one tearing it up. We want to make sure that we're responsible. A lot of different ways to do that. When we're off-road, I want you to consider what sort of impact are you having. If you're if you're trudging through the mud and you're digging deep ruts, you're tearing up the trail. If you decide you're not going to go through that trail because it's muddy, and you go off to the side and you cut your own trail, you're tearing up the environment. You really want to stay off of that, especially on public land. That's the kind of thing that gets it shut down. When it's wet, four-wheel drives have a devastating impact on the trail. We're digging ruts, they're not repairable, erosion starts, we start getting big washouts. And that's the kind of thing that gets us off the property. Long-term damage, that can shut down our public trails for good. You really want to be careful with that. There's a lot of groups out there, the Blue Ribbon Coalition, Tread Lightly. These guys are working hard to make sure that we can all use the trails together and not have a devastating impact on the property. I'd like for you guys to keep the 3-try rule in mind. This is kind of a standard that we use off-road. You're going to try an obstacle once, 2 times, 3 times, and then we're going to get a strap or a winch cable to get over it. We're going to minimize tearing up the property. We're not going to dig big holes. We're going to get through the obstacle. We can continue on to the next. To sit there and relentlessly dig deep holes is just tearing it up for everybody. And again, there are people watching us. They want us off the trails. They think we're destroying them. In some cases, they might be right. If we're not responsible, they will shut down our public land. Tire spin is another big piece that's important. As we spin the tires, we're throwing and we're moving around dirt. If we're going at everything full throttle and spitting gravel and dirt and rock everywhere, we're digging ruts. We're affecting the way that erosion happens. If we're on public land, we want to eliminate tire spin. We want to use traction devices, limited slip devices, lockers, and different things so we can control and go through slowly and not tear up the ground. Really important. One piece that I think gets overlooked a lot when we start talking about Tread Lightly and when we start talking about being out on the trails is what do we do when we have a fluid spill with oil, antifreeze, gas, who knows, whatever. I don't see a whole lot of vehicles outfitted with spill kits. And I think it's really important. And you don't have to get crazy with a spill kit. You don't have to get over the top. It can be done with simple things you probably already have. In our spill kits, we like to just have a little thing of oil dry. You guys know this, kitty litter, whatever, something to soak it up. You can put it in a little container like this. You could put it in a Ziploc bag. You could put it in a little bucket, whatever works. You just want to have an amount to try to soak that up. I like to have a Ziploc bag that's got a couple of trash bags in it. I like to have a couple of trash bags, a couple of shop towels, and a couple sets of gloves. We can clean this stuff up. We can get the oil soaked up. We can store the oil in the bag if we need to. We can take our oily rags, so we can put those back in the bag. And then we can seal it up and we can try to eliminate what we're getting onto the ground. As far as the EPA is concerned, when we get oil onto the ground, we really need to scrape it until the color changes. Once we scrape it and we store it, it can be thrown away with your dry waste as long as it's soaked up into something. It can go into your trash can. It's no longer dangerous at that point. Other things that we want to have is we want to have something that if we have to open something up that we're going to lose oil in, we want to have something we can drain it into, a drain pan if you will. It doesn't have to be crazy. It could be a foil pan. Go raid your mom's house at Thanksgiving. Get a cake pan. Whatever works. Something you can slide under and contain liquids. One important thing to add to your kit is going to be pig mats. These are super absorbent. They're designed to soak up oil and hazardous materials. You throw it down, you soak it up, you flip it over, soak it up, and then you can just wad it up, put it in your Ziploc, and then it goes away with your standard waste disposal. Have a couple of these in your vehicle at all times along with your pan. You can fold this stuff up. You could put it all in a bucket. When we get into the larger fluid spills, I like to have a little bucket or something. You can use this to store all your stuff in, whatever. You just need some sort of a sealable container. Empty water bottles will do. And if you don't have room for them, take an empty water bottle, squash it down tight, put the cap back on. It'll store in half its size. And then with a small funnel, you can dump your used oil back into it. It's really important when we start dumping hazardous materials out onto the trail, people are going to notice, and it's definitely going to get things shut down. So it can be done really simple. Some plastic bags, some trash bags, some shop towels, gloves, kitty litter, pig mats, things you probably have laying around your garage right now. Make a little pack, put it in your Jeep, you'll be good to go. Thanks guys. I'm glad to teach you a little bit about Tread Lightly. I'd like you guys to keep it clean on the trail, keep our trails open so we can use them, so our kids can use them. And this is how we're going to do that if we get together as a team. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.